Imagine a king riding into battle in full armor. In front of him stand thousands of soldiers, and behind him hangs the fate of an entire country. Every step, every decision shapes both his crown and his life. This king is Charles I. The crown of England and Scotland rests in his hands. Yet his courage and ambition make him one of the most dramatic kings in history. His policies and decisions plunge the country into civil war, and victories and defeats alike shape the destiny of both him and the people of England. Charles I was not just a king, but also a brave leader on the battlefield and an unforgettable figure in history. Let's take a look at 10 fascinating facts about him. Fact 1. Birth and family. Charles I was born on November 19, 1600, in London. He was the second child of James VI of Scotland, later James I of England, and Anne of Denmark, making him a prince directly connected to both the crowns of England and Scotland. His childhood was far from easy. His parents faced significant political and religious tensions, which forced Charles to start thinking about politics and leadership at an early age. His education was extremely rigorous. His tutors taught him literature, religion, and military skills. He trained extensively in horseback riding and swordsmanship, preparing to become a warrior leader. This early training and family environment laid the foundation for Charles I to grow into a king capable of strategic thinking and personal bravery. His birth and family background were key factors that shaped his life path and his dramatic role in English history. Fact 2. Youth and training. Charles I stood out even as a child. His father, James I, ensured he received rigorous training to become both a king and a warrior. From an early age, Charles practiced horse riding, swordsmanship, and other military skills. At the same time, he studied literature and religion, preparing himself to navigate the worlds of monarchy and politics. His tutors didn't stop at teaching him reading and writing. They also worked on developing his strategic thinking and leadership abilities. Everything Charles learned in his youth laid the groundwork for him to later lead his army on the battlefield and make critical political decisions that would shape the fate of England. These early experiences made him not just a king, but also a skilled warrior and strategist. Fact 3. Preparation for the English Civil War and early battles. After ascending the throne, Charles I quickly understood the tense political situation in England. However, his strict taxation policies and conflicts with Parliament escalated tensions, and by 1642, the situation erupted into the English Civil War. Charles personally led his army, donning armor and riding at the front line, setting an example for his soldiers. In the early battles, especially at the Battle of Edgehill, he directed strategies and chose attack positions himself. His bravery motivated his troops. Everyone knew the king was risking his life for them. These battles not only demonstrated Charles I's leadership skills, but also marked the beginning of a civil war that would divide England for years. His personal presence on the battlefield made him remembered not just as a political leader, but as a courageous warrior king. Fact 4. Religious beliefs and conflicts. Charles I is remembered not only for his political and military life, but also for his deep religious devotion. He sought to strengthen the Anglican Church and insisted on the proper order of worship and ceremonies. However, this policy caused significant unrest, especially among the Puritans. The king took a firm stance on religious matters, trying to protect the Church's authority. He clashed with Parliament over religious policies, as Puritan members opposed the increasing power of Anglican institutions. These conflicts played a direct role in pushing Charles I towards civil war, both politically and on the battlefield. His religious devotion, personal courage, and willingness to fight for his beliefs made him both a famous and controversial king. The unique mix of religion and politics shaped Charles I's life in a dramatic and historically significant way. Fact 5. Wars with Scotland. One of the greatest challenges during Charles I's reign was his tense relationship with Scotland. In the 1630s, he attempted to impose Anglican worship practices on the Scottish Church, which sparked widespread resistance. This led to the outbreak of the Bishops' Wars. Charles personally trained his army and led on the battlefield, demonstrating leadership. However, the Scots responded with a well-prepared and patriotic army. In the initial battles, the king's forces suffered defeats, affecting both his prestige and England's internal stability. These wars were both a military and political test for Charles I. His conflicts with Scotland became a major factor in his later confrontations with Parliament and ultimately set the stage for the English Civil War. Fact 6. The famous ship money. Law 1 of the most controversial aspects of Charles I's reign was the ship money law. Originally, this tax was collected only in coastal towns to fund the navy. However, Charles extended it across all of England, even demanding payments from inland residents. The king's goal was clear: to strengthen his army and navy and to prepare for foreign threats. Yet, the people saw it as unjust and oppressive, resenting the fact that he collected taxes without Parliament's consent. Ship money also intensified conflicts between the king and Parliament. Members of Parliament tried to limit Charles's authority while he defended his royal powers. This law and the public's anger directly contributed to the outbreak of the English Civil War. In short, ship money reflected Charles I's efforts to strengthen his military and political influence, but it also strained his relations with the people in Parliament. Fact 7. Courage and personal presence on the battlefield. Charles I was not just a king in the palace or political halls. He led on the battlefield as well. During the English Civil War, he took command of his army, wearing armor and riding at the front lines. Every decision he made determined the fate of his troops, and every step inspired his soldiers. People and soldiers knew the king was risking his life, setting an example of fearless leadership. Charles defended against attacks with his sword, directed his army from strategic positions, and stayed in the front lines during the most dangerous moments. His personal involvement not only demonstrated courage, but also showcased leadership in strategic thinking. This presence boosted his soldiers' morale and strengthened their fighting spirit, making Charles I remembered not just as a king, but as a brave and legendary battlefield leader. Fact 8. Family life and personal life. Charles I was not just a king and a warrior. He was also a man deeply devoted to his family. He married Henrietta Maria of France, and together they had 6 children. His family was both a source of support and a great responsibility. Although his daily life was filled with palace duties, politics, and warfare, he made time for his children, preparing them to become future leaders. His relationship with Henrietta Maria was sometimes affected by political tensions, yet his dedication to his family remained clear. His family life also showed his human side. Charles I was not only a king and a leader, but also a father and husband, demonstrating kindness and compassion. This personal aspect, intertwined with historical drama, highlighted the complexity of his life both politically and privately. Fact 9. Execution and historical impact. Charles I's life ended in dramatic fashion. In 1649, following the English Civil War, Parliament executed him. This rare event of a king being executed made his name unforgettable in English history. His execution was more than a political event. It symbolized both the limits of monarchy and the power of the people. After his death, England experienced a period as a republic, the Commonwealth. His life and death showed historians that military bravery and political power alone are sometimes not enough. Charles I left a lasting mark on history as a courageous warrior and a king with a dramatic fate. His story became both a lesson and a legend for future generations. Fact 10. Legendary leader and historical legacy. Charles I remains an unforgettable and dramatic figure in history, his life was full of battles, political conflicts, and personal struggles. His courage, leadership at the front lines, and example on the battlefield earned him the title of Warrior King. At the same time, his execution and tragic end symbolized the limits of monarchy in English history. His fate served as both a historical lesson and a model of justice and leadership for future generations. His name, remembered for battlefield bravery, political skill, and dramatic life, became a historical legend, marking him not just as a king, but as a famous and legendary leader in history. Hieronymus Bosch, a genius whose fantastical, sometimes terrifying, but always thought-provoking worlds left a lasting mark on art history. If his mysterious paintings and strange symbols fascinated you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. Join us for more historical secrets and amazing facts. See you in the next video.